welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the top lessons I have learned in Amazon and just in entrepreneurship in general in 2023. As we round out the year, I find myself reflecting a lot on the different things that have happened this year, and I want to tell you a little bit about how I have kind of overcome some of the challenges and the different things that have come up in my business over the course of the year. So if you are interested, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And with that, let's jump right in. One of the biggest lessons I have learned this year is that I have a very high tendency to try and reinvent the wheel when I get bored. So what I mean by reinvent the wheel is just finding different ways of doing things that are unnecessary. And I know that this is the type of person that I am. Ever since I was younger, I always would want to move things around in my room, even if there was nothing wrong with it. I'd always want to change something or see if I could make it better in some way. And I feel like that has kind of trickled into my business a little bit. For a good, I would say about 2 years with my Amazon business, I was just very happy, kind of like chilling and watching it grow on its own and not really putting too much effort into it. But for a very brief period of time earlier on in this year, I kind of had this urge to switch things around in my business. I even started to see if I could find different suppliers that would give me a better price on my products. And that was a complete bust, and that literally could be a story in and of itself. But to make a long story short, I started to cheat on my supplier a little bit, and I was exploring my options, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think what you have to remember is that there is a reason that you are following a certain protocol or a certain structure, right? There's a reason why I was working with the same supplier, right? They were giving me the quality that I liked. I had a good business relationship with them and things were working well. So there's really no reason to go in and try to find a new supplier, aside from the fact that I just sometimes want to nitpick and see if I can make improvements where improvements aren't necessarily needed. And I want to just speak to anyone who is watching this video that might be a bit of a perfectionist, or if you're someone that, it's hard for you to be settled and complacent with what you're doing or what's going on around you. Be careful not to fall into that trap of, again, trying to reinvent the wheel or making unnecessary changes that overcomplicate your business. In the end, I ended up sticking with my same supplier for this specific product anyway, and I wasted a lot of time and energy shopping around when I really had to just trust the fact that this was a good business partner for me. And sometimes it really is just that simple. I am always a big fan of auditing your business and seeing where you can, fix inefficiencies or maybe increase your profit margins by making small changes. I'm not saying to never do that. I'm just saying that you really have to take a look at why you're doing what you're doing and then see if it's worth it at that point in terms of what your goals are. So one of my biggest goals this year, and kind of the theme of this entire year of 2023 for me, has been balance. I wanted balance in my business, balance in my personal life, balance in all aspects of my life. And so it really didn't align with my theme and my goal of the year to achieve balance when I was adding tasks that didn't need to be done or things that weren't going to improve my business in any way. So that is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is that it's okay to just allow things to be great and not look for perfection all the time. The next big lesson that I learned is that if you want to increase your income, you have to focus on the things that are going to bring in more sales. And I know that that sounds very basic and kind of common sense, but you would be surprised at the number of Amazon sellers, entrepreneurs in general, who focus on all the wrong things. Like me, back in the beginning of my Amazon journey, all I focused on was my branding and do I have the right logo? Was my brand name good enough? And while those things matter, they're not anywhere near at the top of the list of what is most important. And so for me, as I started to think about the growth of my business, I knew that I didn't necessarily want to launch more products because it creates more work. Even though it's not the hardest thing in the world for me, it was just more so, how can I make more money but not increase the amount of time that I'm working? And so I started to get a little bit more creative when it came to my listings. And I'm a very, very big advocate of optimizing your listing on Amazon. So when I say optimizing your listing, that means that you are making sure that the photos are incredible, you have really strong reviews, you're priced competitively. Those are all things that can make for an optimized listing. And as I continue to look through my reviews and just kind of read the feedback that I was getting from my customers, it helped me to really focus on what I wanted to highlight more when it came to my listing. So I started to move around kind of the placement of some of my images. I know that, at least in my step-by-step Amazon program, I teach my students the order in which the photos should appear on the listing. And while that is a great rule of thumb, and I still do think that that's a great structure to follow, there are always exceptions to every rule. And so for very lifestyle-centric products, it might make sense for you to have a lifestyle photo as number 2. Even if the checklist says that number 2 is supposed to be an infographic or a close-up or whatever the image is, you really are the person that's in charge, and you have the best chance of making the most money when you look at your listing and your product from an unbiased, objective viewpoint from the customer. When they land on this listing, what is going to appeal to them? Are they going to care if you have a million different angles of close-ups of the product, or do they more so want to see the product in action? Do they want to see it moving? Do they want to see, how it works and how it would be displayed? Those are things that would be more important. The third lesson that I learned this year is the importance of really good accounting. And luckily for you all, if you're just starting out, this isn't something that you have to stress so much about right this moment, because you are likely working with smaller numbers. No shame, I'm just saying you have room to grow. And as the numbers get bigger and as your business becomes more complex, it becomes even more important to have good bookkeeping and good accounting, because when tax time comes, you want to be sure that you have saved enough money and put enough money aside to be able to pay your taxes so that you don't owe the government any money. And I think what I started to figure out is that just because it costs a good amount of money to hire someone doesn't necessarily mean that they are good at their job. And that's kind of a hard pill to swallow, because you want to believe that if you're paying a premium price for professional services, something like a CPA, something like a lawyer, something like an advisor, financial advisor, whatever the case is, you want to believe that they are going to be good at their jobs, but that's just not always the case. And so you want to make sure that you kind of have a general understanding of what is going on in your business and what is the input and the output, what is the flow of the money that's coming in and out. And if I could give a piece of advice to you all, is that once you start hitting $10,000 a month with your Amazon business, go ahead and hire a professional to keep record of your finances. And the reason that you want to do that is because sometimes, especially if you're selling a product that is more expensive, so the numbers are bigger, it can become overwhelming keeping track of what your expenses are versus what your income is, and really understanding your profitability and how to file those taxes appropriately. And so it's important to have someone on board on your team, someone that you have hired that has a better understanding of that, so that you can just focus on growing your business and not have to worry about every penny and all of the intricate details of what's coming in and what's going out. But when you do have those conversations with these professionals that you may or may not be hiring in the future, once your business scales and you can afford to bring them on, is to have those conversations and ask every single question that you have. There's no dumb questions when it comes to your money, and you want to make sure that you're not just blindly trusting anyone with your cash. You have to also have a baseline understanding of what is going on. So this might sound vague, but I say all that to say that you want to have a hand in every aspect of your business, at least in the beginning stages. As you grow and as you outsource or potentially delegate tasks to other people, maybe you hire a VA or you bring on a team member or two, you still should know how to do all of those tasks, because those people will never care about your business as much as you care about your business, and it's important that you know what's going on every level. One of the other lessons that I have learned when it comes to Amazon FBA is that you have to be willing and ready to adapt to whatever changes are made. I'm thankful that in the last few years, there haven't been drastic changes to the way that FBA works and the way that Amazon handles its sellers. But I do know that in the past, I've had to find ways to kind of overcome any changes that Amazon might make to the platform as far as how it looks to customers or the experience that customers have, because that will all affect you as the seller. So for example, with them incorporating more dedicated space to like video reviews and video tutorials and Amazon lives and everything, in the beginning, I was very resistant to that because it was a change and it was something new. And I'm like, this is a shopping platform. Why do they have to incorporate this and incorporate that? And now I see it more as just, how can I work with this new feature to improve my business? How can I potentially utilize everything that Amazon is implementing in order to grow my business? And it's important that you recognize, or at least reframe the way that you view things as an opportunity rather than something that is an obstacle, because the way that you look at it and your attitude towards it will have everything to do with the way that you overcome it or you don't. If you see it as an obstacle, then it becomes something that's antagonistic. It's something that's a challenge. It's something that, is going to be hard to deal with. But if it's an opportunity, now you can get a little bit more creative. How can I tap into this new feature in order to highlight the benefits of my product even further? How can I reach more customers that maybe on a surface level, they don't think they need my product, but now they see a demonstration of someone using it, and now they feel like it's something that could be useful to them. It's always about thinking of things in terms of how it can positively impact your sales, how it can positively impact your business, rather than looking at it from the opposite angle, which will be you essentially creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that this is now an obstacle that is going to be difficult to overcome. And last but not least, the final lesson that I have learned is that, and actually there are way more, so we can definitely do a part 2 if you guys want, but the last one that I'm going to share in this video is that things don't have to be hard. And this can apply to multiple aspects of life. We're talking about it in a business sense, but I think that that is one of the most valuable things that I'm taking with me from this whole journey of entrepreneurship over these last 5 years, is that just because something is worth having doesn't mean that it necessarily has to be hard or difficult. I will say that I put a lot of energy and effort into building my Amazon business in that initial year to 2 years. And I'm now obviously enjoying the fruits of my labor. Even 5 years later, I'm still making great money from products that I launched years ago. However, I will say that my attitude towards business and making money is completely different than what it was in the beginning. I remember working at my 9-to-5 job and thinking, why is it so hard to make $3,000 a month? And, just really feeling like it's impossible. I don't know how people make 10K a month. I don't know how people make 20K a month. How can people afford to, live in these high-rise buildings and own homes and buy these nice cars? It literally did not make sense to me, because in my brain, the only way to achieve that type of a lifestyle, or to have that type of financial stability and comfort, meant that you have to be breaking your back, you have to be miserable, you have to be working 24/7. And I was already miserable at my 9-to-5, so I just kind of thought that's not in the cards for me. Like, I'm just gonna have to suck it up and just live bare minimum, paycheck to paycheck, and this is my life. And as I have started to make money, especially through the avenue of being online on the internet, it just goes to show that basic marketing and basic business principles are principles for a reason. The law of supply and demand is the law of supply and demand for a reason. It's not just made up. So I think when you really consider that all you have to do is provide something that people want, it really makes it a lot more tangible and a lot easier to envision yourself in a position where you are making passive income, where you are able to travel and live your life and spend your time how you want, and not have to sacrifice your best years, the best times of your life, in order to make money to pay your bills. I think that everyone is entitled to a life that they love, and it's just about working smart and not necessarily hard. Some people work smart and they work hard. I think of professions like doctors and teachers and firefighters and nurses and sanitation workers. Like, those are people who are working hard. right? And we need those people. But at the same time, I do think that there's so much more opportunity for other people to make money in the ways that make sense for their lives and for their goals. Maybe you have family that you want to spend more time with. Maybe you have other dreams that you want to pursue. And if you were able to make the kind of money that you needed to take care of your responsibilities, you would be able to pursue those other important aspects of your life, you know, to feel whole, to feel fulfilled, and to feel truly happy and at peace with your life. So I have just kind of restructured my thinking that money is something that can come to you at any time. There is not a finite amount of money. Money ebbs and flows, it comes, it goes, and you don't want to be in a position where you are so fearful of never being able to make the kind of money that you would want or would need to be able to survive, that it scares you into never taking action. You always want to think about the tangible things that you can do every day to get you closer to your goals. So if one of your goals is to become financially stable or financially independent so that you can do whatever it is, take care of your family or see the world or start a nonprofit, whatever it is that you want to do with your time and with your life, you have to think about, what can I do today that will help me get there tomorrow or the next day or the next day. It's all building blocks. Like literally, you think of Legos or any type of building of anything, you do it one piece at a time. A building doesn't just appear overnight. It's, you know, different pieces that you have to put into place. You have to have a foundation, and you add and you go ahead and you just keep on building on top of it until you get to the outcome that you want. So those little things that you can do every single day, like spending time writing down your goals, learning through platforms like YouTube or podcasts, reading books, putting action behind, you know, the intangible things that you're doing, the mindset work that you're doing, the self-improvement that you're working on, put more action behind that and just start. Whenever you have that motivation, you have that spark, that fire, that drive, don't wait until tomorrow, just do it now and you will thank yourself later on. I hope you guys enjoyed that video of me sharing some of the lessons that I've learned in 2023 as a business owner, and I hope that it can help you kind of think through how you want to move into 2024 and beyond as you start your own projects, businesses, side hustles, endeavors. Keep these things in mind, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.